a group of children running in a circle in a field at the side of a construction site. The time was round about midnight, and you just wouldn't see children playing there at that time of night when it was so far away from any houses. And the children disappeared. They were security men who'd been in the industry a long time. They knew the job. They had worked nights for a number of years, and not the type of people that you'd expect to be scared.
The A616 used to pass straight through this old steel town, but then the road planners got to work on Stocksbridge. They built a sweeping new bypass. While it may have made the town quieter, some believe the bypass disturbed something which would have been best left alone. Certainly the two security guards who were watching over the equipment being used to build it would agree. They were still puzzling over the sight of the children, but that was just the beginning.
The next incident was later on that night.
Here, Stan, stop the car. Look, there's someone up there. Don't be daft. There can't be. Yes, there is. Look! You drive around, shine your lights on bridge. I'll wait down here. Right.
They immediately started the vehicle up, shone the headlights towards the hooded figure, and the headlights actually shone through the figure.
Oh, God. It's disappeared into thin air. Let's get out of here.
The men, in a state of shock, called their boss out. He was alarmed at the state they were in.
Dan, Jeff.
They were physically shaking. Their complexion was very white and pallid. One of the guards was actually crying.
Go on, try me.
Well, it's difficult to describe it. It looked like a monk. I mean, what were he doing there? I don't know. It said we're evil. Yeah. How can it just disappear?
First thing the next morning, the men went to the local police. The officer on duty knew them.
It was obvious that they'd seen or heard something. They were both spooked. And basically, I said to them it was not really a police matter and there was nothing I could do about it. And perhaps jokingly, I told them that really they needed the church more than they needed the police.
But they took him seriously. They went to Stocksbridge Church and refused to leave.
About an hour or so later, I received a phone call from my boss, and I was told to go up to the church and sort this matter out, firstly to get them out of the church, and then see if I could find out anything that they'd actually seen, heard, or whatever.
The security guards never, it seems, got over what happened to them.
One of them left after 3 days, and the other one stayed with us roughly 2 to 3 months, and neither of the two guards would set foot on that site again, even in the daylight.
While the bypass was being built, runner Graham Brooke was training for a marathon. One day he was out jogging with his son Nigel.
I saw a chap walking with his back to the traffic. He was walking in the middle of the road.
I looked at it and you could see it had no features to it except for a nose and eye sockets.
I could smell like this fusty, rottenish smell.
Not a human type smell.
And then I could see that he wasn't walking on the road, he was like walking in the road, and from below the knee down, you know, you couldn't see anything.
Each time things are apparently seen, the descriptions vary, but the reputation of the bypass deepens.
We were coming home from Judy's parents over the bridge that goes over the bypass.
Dave, look. I could see out of the corner of my eye like a grey apparition. There was actually no facial expressions. It
was hovering. Arms and legs were flaying all over the place.
Strange. It looks almost like a man running. But he's not running on the ground.
It would run up the embankment.
It's a man, isn't it? He actually rose from the side into the road and disappeared into the car. Oh my God!
I can think of no other explanation for what we saw. in my mind, I think in both of our minds, what we saw had to have been a ghost.
So if something does keep appearing on the bypass, what is it? Lucinda June is a psychic. She says she knows.
I was driving along the Stocksbridge bypass and the car started to become very, very cold. With this came a smell of musty books. Then all of a sudden a darkness appeared to the left-hand side of me and I felt very, very frightened. And I did pick up the spirit of a monk that had been there 500 years previous.
But why should a long-dead monk be on what is now the Stocksbridge bypass? It's been discovered there were once monastery farms in the area.
The rumour or the story is that one of these monks became disillusioned with the rather harsh autocratic way of life. He came here to Underbank Hall, worked the rest of his natural life here as groundsman or whatever, and subsequently when he died he was buried in unhallowed ground.
Some believe the bypass may have been built over the supposed monk's grave, and they also have theories to explain the children seen by the security guards.
Children were used in the valley's coal mines in the late 18th and mid-19th century. The rumour suggests that there's been some sort of a mining catastrophe.
So, a phantom monk, ghostly children. After dealing with the security men in the church, P.C. Ellis and his colleague John Beat were sent to investigate.
Let's switch the radios off.
Right.
We sat in the Panda car with the lights off, the engine off.
Seems all right.
We sat looking at the bridge, and after a while I was convinced I could see something moving about on the bridge. Not wanting to spook myself or John, I kind of looked at John.
Hang on. What's that up there? Go and see what it is, Dick.
I actually climbed up the ladder onto the bridge, and there was a lot of things scattered about on the top of the bridge.
It's only a sheet of polythene!
Well, once we thought we'd found out what it was and what was actually on the bridge, we decided to give it another 10-15 minutes and say, forget it and we'll go back on our normal patrol.
I suddenly got this feeling, you can't explain it. There's this saying, somebody's walked over your grave which turns you cold. And I then became aware that somebody now had appeared directly on my right hand side and was virtually leaning and pressing themselves against the car. I managed to cast my head quickly to the right and remember seeing the upper section of somebody's chest torso and a clear V sign.
Oh my God! Look! What the heck is it?
I don't know. It's gone.
Is it?
When I got out of my side, not a person, nothing about at all. I even hit the deck and looked under the vehicle because nobody could have run away from us with bankings on both sides. Nobody ran forwards or backwards.
We went to start the car, and at first the car wouldn't start. We started to panic a little bit. We drove off and radioed our colleagues.
There's a bang behind the car, which I can only really put down to sounding like somebody was hitting the back of the car with something like a baseball bat or a pickaxe handle.
We need help on the bypass side.
Things on this job have frightened me, and it wasn't the kind of fear that you get from violence offered towards you or anything like that. It was more the kind of dread feeling or knowing that something's happening that you've no control over.